Thank you for joining us today. One of the longest running institutions in the greater Brattleboro and greater Windham County area for 31 years now has been Project Feed the Thousands. If you don't know what it is, stick around, we'll tell you, because right here with me to my left is current co-chair Kelly Corbeil of Four Seasons Media WTSA, and one of the co-founders of Project Feed, Larry Smith. Good to see you both today.
Good to see you, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
I want to find out how all this got started, because I not only want to let people know how this happened, but also pay tribute to the other co-founder of Project Feed the Thousands, a man we sorely miss, George Haynes.
Well, let's start on that note, Tim. We lost George earlier this year. George and I founded this project back in 1994, and he has been heavily involved and very dedicated to this project for 31 years. So we miss him, but his work will carry on, and just wanted to make sure we mentioned that he is no longer with us. On that note, it was actually the summer of 1994, and again, George Haynes was then president of Brattleboro Savings Loan, community bank, did a lot of community projects. I was a general manager at WTSA. We also were the community radio station and did a lot of projects. So just before we got together, I used to do a lot of live newscasts just to get out in the community. And I got a call from Melinda Bussino, the executive director of the Brattleboro Area Drop-In Center. She'd called on many times. Will you come see the Drop-In Center? Could we do an interview? And I don't know why, but I just blew it off. And then she called one time and said the Vermont Food Bank is doing a donation. Their truck is going to be in the Harmony parking lot, and they'll be giving away food. Maybe you could come down and do an interview, maybe your noon newscast. So I did, and when I got down there, I saw a line out the back of the Harmony parking lot, and I saw everybody that I knew. Young people, old people, they were all Brattleboro area people, and it was pretty evident to me at that point, there are people that are hungry. They're not passing through. These are our residents, our citizens, and it struck me. So then she said, well, do you want to go see the drop-in center now? So I did, and she showed me the food pantry, and other than some USDA leftover flour, rice, commodities, there was nothing. And people were sitting there waiting for food. I just kept that in my mind, and then a few weeks later, George Haynes says, let's do a community project. The radio station and the bank. We could put lights on the creamery-covered bridge. We could put lights on the common. And I said, why don't we do a food drive? And he said, for what? And I said, for area people, Brattleboro Area Drop-In Center. I said, come on, we're going to go down to Drop-In Center. And we went down, and we're looking, and again, there's no food, but there's a mother and her kids sitting on a couch, and they're crying. And I said to Melinda, is this a bad time? Should we not be here? And she says, oh no. She just heard the Vermont Food Bank is dropping off food for her kids. She'll have food tonight. So those are happy tears. And it's just looked at each other and said, we have to raise food. And that's how it started. The need was obvious. We saw it, and we were committed to trying to do something to fight food insecurity and hunger.
But the bad news coupled with the good news is not only has the need in the Brattleboro area and surrounding communities grown, so have the hearts of people who've given over the years.
Yes, this started as Project Feed the Thousand, and it became pretty obvious after the second year, it's Feed the Thousands. There's just that many people.
So at this point, we have expanded to 9 area food programs, and let's see if I can count them off. It's Groundworks Collaborative's Food Works in Brattleboro, as well as Loaves and Fishes and Bridget's Kitchen, the Hinsdale Food Pantry, Guilford Food Shelf, Bread of Life in Vernon, Putney Food Shelf, the Townsend Food Shelf, and also Our Place in Bellows Falls. Have I left anybody out?
No, you have them all.
Oh, goodness. So you kind of get to know the people who run these programs, and more importantly, you get to know the stories of people who need these programs over the years. And it is incredible because right now the need continues to go up. I mean, way back when, Larry, we thought that we could say we could conquer hunger locally. Hasn't happened, has it?
No. Again, it's you're right. There's good news and there's bad news. The good news is this has grown so large and become so entrenched in the community and the surrounding communities over the past 30 years. But so is the need for food and hunger insecurity. It's like the more food we get or the money we raise, there's still a need. But we're making good efforts.
Yes, we are. And of course, the campaign for year number 31 is underway. Kelly Corbeil, what's different this year, and what are the goals that this community has set for itself?
Well, the goals, our goal this year is $120,000 in cash, because we know, like you said earlier, cash is king, and it goes a long way, buys an awful lot of food. Because there's, the Vermont Food Bank where your dollar goes a lot further. And so we're really focused more than ever on the cash for the campaign. We still are focused on food, and we just wanted to let anyone know that anyone that does a food drive, we're just saying go directly to your food bank and drop it off locally. That's really the change. Outside of that, we're still focused, like we always are, on getting food to every family and making sure everyone has something to eat.
So how can people make a donation?
Yeah, there's multiple ways. So you could go online to projectfeedthethousands.com, and on there's a donate page that you can make a donation. You can go to a GoFundMe. I think it's Project Feed the Thousands 2024 under GoFundMe, so that's there as well. Or you can send a check to 802 Credit Union, or just drop one off at any 802 Credit Union branch.
Sounds really easy. Who gets involved in these annual efforts? Where do you see people making a difference?
There's so many people that get involved, and so many businesses get involved. Like we just did over this past weekend, we were down at Brown and Roberts. Brown and Roberts did a Project Feed Day where everyone got 20% off their purchases that day if they made a donation to Project Feed the Thousands. So a lot of the businesses in the area do things. Also, this weekend, the high school kids came down and they were at the doors letting everyone know when they came in to please make a donation. And I think everyone, wants to help in some way, and there's always a way to help with Project Feed. It doesn't have to be just, giving cash. It could be going to your local food bank and offering to help there.
Yeah, that's important because, as you mentioned, with some of the students getting involved, there's an educational component to all this, making more people aware that their neighbors are hungry and they can be part of the solution.
It's true. And just like for people to have empathy for each other and care about each other, and just know it, there's this stigma sometimes about it, and it could be anybody. It can be anyone, like you guys were saying. You can be shocked at who might be using it because you might have some opinion in that it's only someone that potentially is homeless. Well, that's not even, that's a small piece of the bigger piece. And, our goal is, like I said, to make sure us as friends and neighbors and community people, that we all come together and try to make sure everybody has food.
And given the fact that a lot of people are able to get food at the end of the year, it makes a big difference, but this is a year-round problem.
Mm-hmm.
Sure is. And that's a good point. We have one of the food shelves here that's going to talk in a little bit, but from what I understand, we're saying we would like to raise $120,000 and hope that we do, and that, goes back to all the community members helping to do that. But even so, in the past, we've been told that by, end of spring, that is completely gone. So even that's not enough. So that's one small little bit that we're trying to do to get through the winter. And again, it's a year-long problem. So, anytime anyone can donate, anytime anyone can help any of our area food shelves, it goes a long way.
Really does. And of course, we've all seen stories of people whose lives have been helped by food. And I know that over the years, there have been efforts that have highlighted those things. I'll tell you about one that happened to me. I was out shopping with George and with Larry one day, and I had the old WTSA van that was big and bulky and everything, and trying to shove bag after bag into that thing. And I was beside myself. I just didn't know whether I could do it. And along by came this very pregnant lady with a couple of kids in a stroller, and you could tell she was not that far from having child number 3. And she said, "Look, I can't give money. I don't have it, but I know you're struggling. I know how important this is, but can I help you load?"
Remember that.
And I still think of that this day, and I almost break down into tears, because those are the kinds of things that, this is what we can all do for each other. This is what we can do to help alleviate the problem. Or on the air one day, working at WTSA in the late 90s, there was a call for turkeys. Melinda Busno from the Drop-In Center had called us. They had run out of turkeys just before Thanksgiving. Well, we said something on the radio, and within a half an hour, 30 people showed up with turkeys. And a woman that I had never met before and had never seen since just walked into the radio studio, sat down, wrote a check for $100, with tears in her eyes, said, "Here, they need this more than I do." These are the kinds of things that...
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you want to be doing something that makes the community around you better, and really this is it. So I'm just so happy that we're going to be going on with this. I don't know how many years this will be going. We'll probably not be here and this thing will still be going, but it's that important. We're going to come back with a couple of people involved with area food programs, and one of the people that makes the numbers work. I mean, I'm no great banking wizard myself, but we'll meet someone who is, coming up as we continue with Project Feed the Thousands. And we are joined now by 3 other participants in Project Feed the Thousands. To my immediate left is Selena Ayers from 802 Credit Union, and to her left is Chris Thayer from the Vermont Food Bank. And we are also pleased to have Ben Smith from the Groundworks collaborative program called FoodWorks. Thank you all again for all of your efforts. Now, we were talking about money a bit ago, but what role does 802 have in all of this? Because, you know, I can maybe balance my checkbook, but that's about it. How do you put all this together?
Sure. So 802 Credit Union receives all the monetary donations that come in either by mail or over the counter. And we process all those donations and take record and make sure thank you letters and any of the correspondence get out. And at the end, make sure our food shelves get their donations.
And of course, you don't have a printing shop at 802
No.
Credit Union, do you?
No, we don't.
So who does all that?
So we have great staff members that all pitch in where they can to stuff envelopes and print letters and make sure that everything gets done.
Very good. Now, Chris Thayer, you've been with the Vermont Food Bank for several years, and it's an interesting symbiotic relationship that the food bank and these food shelves have. Explain it to me, and how does it actually work?
So how it works is we just work together. We have a list of product that goes out. Everybody can order. We have people that come in weekly that can get product when they need to.
But where does the Vermont Food Bank get its food?
We get it from all kinds of donors, you know, CNS, UNFI, people off the street sometimes stop by. Sometimes there's refusals at CNS. They'll call us up and say, hey, we have a pallet of French fries, you know, so we'll take it. So, you know, stuff like that.
Makes sense. And so you work with different food banks. How many do you work with?
The southern area works with around 60, but company-wide throughout Vermont, it's over 200.
My goodness. I mean, I'm hearing a lot as we get toward the holidays about how demand is up and donations are down. Is that the case here?
Yeah, it is. I think coming off the pandemic where everybody was so generous, it is coming down a little bit. And but I mean, people are still donating. People are still giving, and it's just not at the height it was during the pandemic. So.
And Ben, how does that relate to your work at FoodWorks? You said you've been with FoodWorks since 2020?
Yeah. So I've started at FoodWorks in the pandemic when we were getting a lot of support from the community, a lot of enthusiasm for the work that we were doing. And I've kind of seen how things have shifted and changed over the course of the last 4 years. We definitely have seen a rising need pretty steadily throughout the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. That hasn't changed at all, and I think that has to do with inflation. That has to do with so many different things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've definitely seen somewhere around 2022 or so, we saw a big cut in the amount of stuff that we had available to us as pandemic funds were cut, and it's really fallen on communities. Yeah.
But still, demand continues to go up. There are more and more people walking through your doors saying, I need help.
Absolutely.
So how does this make things go together? I mean, Project Feed needs money. Where does that money go? Do the food banks on the local level buy the food from the Vermont Food Bank?
Yeah, so we get a mixture of things that we can buy from the food bank at a wholesale price, mm-hmm. and also we get things for free from the food bank. And that's really helpful to us. The food bank, we get a lot of our food from them, as well as from other grocery stores and people donating to us.
And of course, the cost of transportation is covered by some of this as well?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
So it is a time when we all need to dig in our pockets, help people a bit more. And what about the volunteer end of it? How are both of you coping with volunteerism? Do you have enough? And what makes a good volunteer?
That's a great question. I was the volunteer coordinator for the first 3 years that I worked at FoodWorks, and volunteers are great. We have so many volunteers from many different walks of life. The thing that makes a great volunteer is somebody that has an open heart, somebody who is willing to be non-judgmental and really just cares about the health of the community. I like to think of FoodWorks as a space that builds community, not just amongst our patrons, but also among our staff members and our volunteers and our patrons, all aspects of the community working together. And that's where I see Project Feed fitting in as well.
And people may not know that you've got FoodWorks set up like an actual store.
Yes, we do. So
people come in, they say what they want, and they leave with a bag.
Absolutely. And we've got all kinds of food. We've got the shelf-stable food, the cans that you might think of when you think of a food pantry. And then we also have fresh produce, we have fresh bread and bakery, dairy products, and meats as well. And so we've got a little bit of everything that we try to make it as dignified of an experience as we can. We really strive to make shopping at FoodWorks no different from shopping at a grocery store. The only difference is that you don't spend any money at FoodWorks.
I'm glad to hear that word dignity, because a lot of us don't want to ask for help. Mm-hmm. We make difficult decisions in our lives, And admitting we need help is the toughest decision that is out there.
Absolutely. It's very hard. And I think that that might also play into why we're seeing an increase in need is that people are seeing the good work that we're doing and they want to be involved, and they're feeling more comfortable about saying, hey, I'm here and I have this need, and asking for help. That's such a big step for somebody to take. And it's really great to see that so many people are feeling more comfortable with that, the work that we're doing.
Now, are the people you serve, Ben, just from Brattleboro or surrounding area, or what?
We serve a wide range, yeah. Mostly Brattleboro, but people will come from all over Windham County, as well as New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
And so there are other food banks as well, and they tend to serve a mix. So you all work together on these things?
Yes, yeah. A lot of people that come and shop at FoodWorks also will go and be patrons at other food service places as well.
Now, how are you fixed for volunteers? Do you have a role for them, Chris?
We do. We have a program called Veggie Van Go. So we go out on the road and we distribute to different locations, like in parking lots, and we get volunteers lining up to do that, to help out. Yeah, we have no issue getting volunteers to help with that, and they're there, rain, shine, snow, sleet, doesn't matter, they're there. So
yeah, I've heard about Veggie Van Go. How does that work?
Yeah, Veggie Van Go is a program we started several years ago now, where we go out and it's mainly produce, fresh produce, and occasionally we'll throw some eggs in there and some other things added to it, but it's called Veggie Van Go for a reason. So it's mainly fresh vegetables that we hand out.
And do you see that certain groups of people are more likely to show up than others?
No, it's you know, like they said before, sometimes it's a shock, like it's your next door neighbor or you know, somebody you went to school with that you might see there. You just don't know who's suffering right now.
And this is going to continue. So I really appreciate the hard work that both of you are doing.
Thank you.
And Selena, you start off by getting volunteer efforts together. You collect the money, you send out thank you notes. It's a lot of work.
Yes, it is, but it's a great cause.
Now, there are a number of groups that are involved with things like stuffing envelopes and all of that. Let's say Richard's group, New Chapter, they're involved in Giving Tuesday and basically giving throughout the year.
Yes, we have many great participants and donors that help out in any which way. I just want to do special thanks to CNS for their food and printing, Lotus Graphics. We have various media outlets, WTSA, The Beast, WKVT, WYRY, the Brattleboro Reformer.
So really everybody is involved because you either are being helped or you're helping others.
Yes.
So it's really impressed with all of you. So thank you for your hard work.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now again, we are in year 31 of Project Feed the Thousands. None of us ever thought we'd be here, but we're here. And it's up to you to make a difference, whether it is by helping someone get to a food shelf, by making a contribution, or if you are in need, don't hesitate. That's what these programs are there for. Just go to any one of the 9 programs that are being supported by Project Feed the Thousands. Of course, FoodWorks in Brattleboro, along with Bridget's Kitchen and Loaves and Fishes, Hinsdale Food Shelf, Guilford Food Shelf, Bread of Life in Vernon, Putney Food Shelf, Townsend Food Shelf, and the Our Place in Bellows Falls. So we all are trying to do our part to end hunger. And it's a daily thing, so please do what you can. I'd like to thank Selena Ayers, Chris Thayer, and Ben Smith, and also our earlier guests, Kelly Corbeil, and Larry Smith for being along with us today. This is Tim Johnson. Do what you can, help your neighbors, and give to Project Feed the Thousands. Thank you so much for joining us.